Hello and welcome to the channel. Okay, before I begin, I want to say thank you to all the subscribers and welcome to all the new subscribers. Really appreciate each and every one of you. We're still trying to hit that 10,000 subscriber goal. So if you come and you watch the videos, whenever you scroll by and you're a regular watcher, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It'll help support our cause. Also, it's a good way, that inexpensive way to show support. Also, hitting those likes and those hype buttons be highly appreciated. Okay, so this video's about Ironwood State Prison and kind of what happened during one of the lockdowns. We were on the lockdown for a riot. We had a riot with the blacks, right? And basically, I had my own cell already. When I say I had my own cell, I lived with another inmate, of course, but I was originally in that cell. I painted it, painted the shelves, painted the walls. I waxed the floors. I had polished all the chrome in there, the sink, the toilet. I hooked it up. I had it fixed it up top of the line, right? Anyways, I had already been through 2 cellies while I was there. I was very comfortable in that cell, very used to it. I liked the view through the window in the back. There's a long, small window in the back where you could see out the other buildings and cars coming in and out of the prison. So I had, a decent little view. Well, one day there was a riot with the blacks, right? And my cellie got rolled up. So what they did was they moved me from my cell and they moved me in the same building to another cell where the guy's cellie had gotten rolled up too. He was from 22nd Street. I'm not going to say his name because I know he's still active. He's still in prison. But I will say he was from 22nd Street. Good little homie. And so my cell that they took from me, they moved some blacks in and gave them my cell. I was there with the guy from 22nd. I think it was about a 6-month, 8-month lockdown approximately. And during that time, it was a little awkward for me because I didn't ask to be moved there, and we had never talked about it, me and this guy from 22nd Street. It was something that the COs did. And, I don't mind moving, but like talking with the person that I'm moving in with or talking with the person that's going to move in with me. So I figure after the lockdown, I'll find somewhere to go, and I'm going to go to another cell where I could do it with having a mutual agreement with whoever's living in that cell already. Anyways, we got along good and everything. We had a good time, laughed a lot. And one day we're making wine. We have a bunch of apples, oranges, we have juices, we have everything. And it's just me and him, so we're gonna get pedo, right? We're gonna get drunk. And we're smashing up the apples and stuff. And the CEO that used to watch us when I'd go to band practice was going by and talking to all the different people that are in the band, right? And he came by my cell, and we have all our stuff spread out. We have buckets, and we're smashing, and we're working on our kicker. He is sitting on the bed. And Ahura just pulls up to the window and knocks on the door. And I turn around and I look. I go, "What's up?" So he starts talking to me, and the homie from 22nd starts trying to like slide stuff under the bed, and he has this look in his face like he just like a cat that got caught with a bird in his mouth, So I tell the homie from 22nd, "Nah, don't worry, he's not gonna trip." And the seal was at the window. He went like, that ain't nothing, I don't give a shit. So anyways, we're there crushing our apples. And of course I stopped while he was there, and he said we had to say about them wanting to close down the music program. And I was one of the ones that started the music program on that yard. There was no music program when I got there. And there was about 5 of us from different races that got together and worked to get this program started. We'd have concerts on the yard. Anyways, so he let me know, he gave me a heads up and stuff, and gave me some ideas how I could prevent it from happening, some avenues that I could take and some help that I could get to keep the program going, right? So he leaves, right? And, we finished setting up our wine and tie it up and put it under our bed, clean our mess, and we're kicking back. And I noticed that he was working on something. I thought it was a drawing, to tell you the truth. He was always, drawing his thing, and then sometimes he'd crumble it up and he'd get another one and he'd do it over. And until I guess he was satisfied. Well, only the Hispanics and the blacks were on lockdown during this time. The whites were out, the others were out, and the Native Americans were out. So there was this white dude that we both got along good. He called him over to the cell, and he comes up to the cell door, and he's talking to him like close to the door, I could hear if I tried, but that was his business. I wasn't paying attention. I think I was watching TV or something, but he was at the door talking to this dude, and he gets that drawing that he was doing, and he slides it through the door, right? And so he takes off. The white guy takes off. He goes to yard. So he comes back, and the homie for 22nd hits the door again and starts doing the same thing, talking through the door, through the crack in the door, right? Kind of keeping his voice really low. It was a private conversation with this guy, as private as it can get, right? And turns out that this dude was working with the homeboy that had the yard, okay, who lived in our building also. And so the white guy would go to the llavero, the key holder, the guy who has the yard. He'd go to his cell, talk to him, come back, talk to my Sally, back and forth a couple of times, and then he goes out again to yard, right? So 2 unlocks pass. They let inmates in. I don't remember if it was every hour or whatever it is. They have unlocks where you could come in and out if you want to go to the yard, or if you want to come in and shower and stay inside, or whatever. They open the doors to the block, right? So 2 of those unlocks went by, and on the 3rd one, dude comes back in, and dude had a sack of black, right? And drops it on the floor, kicks it under the door, right? And my Sally looks at it, and he says, like, yeah. So he ties it up and sends a little note. It's called a huila, a kite, with it to the guy who has the yard, right? And a little while after, the white guy comes back and throws a small little chunk underneath the door, and he says, "Hey, that's for you and Lucky." So he had sent a good little chunk over to my Sally, right? But he sent it for both of us, right? And So we decided to wait until the wine was done, and we did a little tiny little piece. Later on, we busted out the wine, we strained it, took all the garbage out of it, and sent the kicker back out, threw away all the waste, got everything out of the cell that we were able to get out of the cell, right? And we started drinking. And we ended up partying for like 2 days, you know. And all the time that I was this guy Sally, and that I knew this guy, because I knew him ever since I had been there, and I think that had been around 2 years, I never knew that he was working with the guy who had the yard. And they were in my building, you know, and I knew both of them, but I never connected them as far as him being the one holding on to that, you know. And it's like that when you're in prison, man. You everything's on a need to know basis. If you don't need to know, then it's not for you, you know. And that's obviously why I didn't know what my Sally was up to, not even when I moved in, you know, until it came to the cell, you know. Even when he was trying to get it back or whatever, I guess what happened was he was in the yard when the yard went off, okay, and everybody had to get down, and he had that on him, and so he had to, you know, he dug a little hole and he made a little weed, you know, kind of a flag, so he knew where it was at, and I told him, that's what you had been working on all that time with your little drawing. And he goes, yeah. What he was doing was he was drawing a map to where that thing could be found, you know. So he had to, you know, draw like the buildings, the track of the yard, and, you know, guesstimate how many steps from the cement of the track out to the yard where he was laying, you know. And this white guy had to go out to the yard and locate this thing. And dig it up, you know, which was risky, not only risky, but probably a very difficult thing to do, you know, off of a little piece of paper that somebody drew, you know, and whatever instructions he gave him through the door. Anyways, we came off lockdown shortly after, and yeah, I moved out and I got another cell, and anyways, it worked out good. I ended up doing the same thing to my new cell. I painted it, got it all fixed up and everything, and I stood in that cell until the day I paroled. So I had to do it at 2 cells, and that's one thing when you're in prison and you hook up a cell, you can't plan on staying there. Anything could happen. You could end up in the hole. You could end up going to another yard for some reason, like happened to me. I ended up on going to this. I had gone to this yard, but I had came from another yard where I was at when I first got sent to Ironwood. I was put on another yard. I stood there maybe like I don't know, maybe 2-3 years, and then I went to the second yard. I stood there about 2 years and a half. So yeah, you know, and through that time I had been through different cells, but those last 2 cells I really had them hooked up nice. And the little guy that I was with, that little dude from 22nd Street, he was doing life for unaliving somebody on a personal beef, not on barrio pedo or anything. He got into something with somebody, and that somebody did him wrong, so they ended up giving him life without the possibility of parole. Now, I don't know how old he was at the time he committed that crime. He may have been under the age of 25, so he may have gotten out. I don't know. But at the time, he had life without. Uh, I don't know what the requirements would have been for him to get out, but I hope he did. He was a cool little dude, little youngster with the business. I mentioned him on a video I did long time ago, and some people from his area knew him and said that he was still incarcerated at that time, but it's been about a year already. So hopefully he's gotten out since then. Anyways, that's all. I just wanted to share an experience. Going to prison, sometimes you go on lockdown. Sometimes it's only for a couple of weeks. Sometimes it could be 6 months. Yeah, and you come off, and maybe you might come off one day, and stuff happens. You end up back on lockdown again for another 6 months. You spend a lot of time in that cell doing cell living, which I guess you get used to. You get a little routine going in your cell, and especially if you're living with somebody in that cell that you get along with, and you guys have the same habits, the same likes. You guys could watch the same shows. You guys like the same kind. Your food hooked up the same. Maybe, I don't know. You both like to work out, maybe. If it's a good match, it's smooth sailing. But it'd be all hell if you ended up in a cell with someone that you don't care very much for. Or if they end up transferring you to a cell like they did to me, and you end up getting somebody transferred into your cell who's got bad charges, and has to go. And, well, how you've seen on YouTube how that ends, usually for that person who has those charges. Anyways, stay free, people. Don't put yourself through these kind of situations. It's just a waste of time. There's nothing you can take home from the experience of living in a cell. I'm not saying you can't learn something good in prison, but cell living isn't something that you need to know. Maybe it might help you to understand people better, because you're living in a very close quarters with another man, and you learn a lot about respecting spaces, but other than that, it's just, it's just doing time. That's all it is. So it's much better being out here. Man, I could walk out that door and go anywhere I want, eat anything I want. Take a drive in my car with my lady, anything. Go to a car show. Once you get locked up, your life's over. It really is, until you get out again, because in there it's a different. You're not part of what's happening out here anymore. You become part of the system, and it's a whole different life in there. So stay safe, people. Stay free. Stay out from behind them walls, from behind them bars, and let's be out here where we can enjoy all the things that life has for us. That being said, thank you for watching. I really appreciate each and every one of you. I hope to see you on the next video. Thank you very much.